Sagittarius, Sagittarius, Sagittarius. Lovely to meet you. My name is Angelica. I see that you are come here for a metaphysical, physical examination and a psychological and oracle reading, correct? Excellent. In that case, before we continue, I'm going to ask you to put on these gloves for me, please. Thank you. And as for the other hand, keep it outstretched for me, please. Thank you, doll. And I'm going to just quickly put on some lotions, that way I have a soft grip over your reed. Now, I'm also going to take your photo if you're okay with it. For our databases, it's basically to compile a dossier of what each zodiac sign looks like to see if we can find any discernible physical traits that might reveal your zodiac sign just on a physical appearance. Are you okay with this? Okay, perfect. And also, are you okay with this examination being recorded? It's for clerical purposes, in office use only. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to switch out my earphones really quickly because I seem to be wearing the wrong ones. There we go. And now, sorry, it's for the video itself, but these are the correct ones I need to kind of keep a check as to how the audio is doing. So let's take a photo really quickly and then we'll begin with the metaphysical examination. So look at me really quickly. Look at me. Look at me. Perfect. Keep looking at me. Keep looking at me. Perfect. Look to the right. Look to the right. And perfect. Look at the right. Look at the right. Perfect. Look to the left. Look to the left. Perfect. Look to the left. Perfect. Okay. Now, for your metaphysical read, your element is fire. You are ruled by the planet Jupiter. Now, as a fire sign, you are someone who is very much, the best way I can describe it is that the water signs are the vibe. The air signs work with the vibes. The fire signs sort of just establish their own, I guess water signs and fire signs are both the vibe. And the earth signs are the ones that the vibe kind of goes over their head. So, as a fire sign, you are very much at the edge of your seat. You're always just taking action. You're very action oriented. You're someone who's really present in the moment. You really stay with the vibe. You're someone who is very much kind of solid with what you're currently doing, who you currently are. Not in the sense of confidence, but in the sense that you're not going to be lost completely the way a water sign might be in their emotional and intellectual thought loops, or you're not going to be as, steady or stable or practical as an earth sign, where they're just very grounded to a point where they might be perceived as boring to you, and a water sign might be seen as emotionally overbearing to you. The air signs tend to be the ones that you especially get along with best. I believe Gemini is the one that you're most compatible with, but let me double check that, although I think it's Gemini. I'm not going to check it. Now, your symbol is the archer, because wherever you shoot, whatever goal you go after, that is the one that you're going to really aim for. You are someone who takes a lot of action. Now, because you are ruled by Jupiter, this means that your traits are very optimistic, abundant, growth-oriented, and risk-taking. Now, the way that these all four align with one another is that you're someone who is constantly pushing the boundary, and if something doesn't work out, that's fine. I'm going to go over here and make that work instead. Now, if you're paired with someone that's an earth sign, they might tamper down that energy. They might make you less of a powerhouse of energy by criticizing you if it's a Virgo, slowing you down if it's a Taurus, or making you feel unappreciated if it's a Capricorn. Likewise, if it's a water sign, their emotional volatility might not pair well with your just drive to compete and succeed. Now, as for your stones, you are represented best by the turquoise, the amethyst, and the citrine. These are the stones that best soothe and complement your state. Now, for these stones, the meanings for them are that they protect against catastrophe, because oftentimes, since you are so just driven and you don't mind taking on risks and you don't mind, telling someone to go to hell, you are very much the person who And this is the funny aspect to me. This is what I love about Sagittariuses, although this is also what I get confused about when it comes to Sagittariuses, is that they are the life of the party, essentially. They are the first person to start making great jokes with everyone. They're there to make everyone just laugh, have a good time. They are the life of the party until they're not. Unlike a Leo, where if they can really run off of the energy of a party indefinitely. Like, until their physical body breaks down, that's when they start to kind of need a rest. Likewise, with an Aries, they don't tend to aim to be the life of the party. They are just a charging force of just, leave me alone, keep me here, bring me there. Hey, I'm here, I'm there. You, on the other hand, you are the life of the party, but your social battery is your Achilles heel. So once your social battery runs out, you cannot stand BS. Even though you were the one BSing the most during your emotional high, during your social high, once that social battery runs out, anyone who tries to BS you is a victim to your onslaught. Immediately, you start to call everyone out for their nonsense, and you do so in general as well. And that's something that I find absolutely fascinating. It's something that I really like, but also it does come out of left field, where it's like whiplash of a difference. Now, as for your, especially with your values and your morals, you tend to be someone who's very principled. You tend to be someone who's very moral oriented. I don't mean that in a prudish way. I mean that in, you have a strict code of ethics, and if someone doesn't conform or doesn't share those same code of ethics, you will be lecturing them until they do. So, or until they acquiesce to what your perceptions are. And even if they say yeah, you will try to hammer it home of no, you're wrong, and this is why. Once you mature, once you get older, you kind of realize that all of this are just petty things, and that everyone is subject to being full of BS, and everyone is subject to their own code of ethics. But when you're younger, you definitely will have that more immature streak. Now, for these stones as well, they will help you promote mildness and understanding, which is how you mature, is just taking into account that other perspectives also matter and have equal merit, that they don't necessarily have to be at odds, and even when they're at odds, there is some reason and logic behind it for that person who holds it. And just mildness in the sense that if you are in a social event, you are not just being a powerhouse of just energy, but rather just sort of learning how to take a couple of steps back and take a chill pill. So, as for the rest of the stone's effects, you will also act as an agent between lower and higher selves. You are someone who is so capable of being highly intelligent, highly creative, highly successful, highly socially esteemed, because of your natural flair for the social, because of your natural charisma, because of your natural sense to be the life, the class clown, the joke, the interesting party, essentially. So when it comes to these higher selves, where you are someone who is really vibrating on a level of, I am my own independent person, I am someone who can accomplish whatever I set my mind to, I am someone who is just a force in life and there is nothing holding me back, you can also kind of have that agent to kind of go into your lower self and understand that some of your vices, some of your bad habits, some of your Achilles heels are also necessary components for you to release that pent-up energy. And hopefully when you recognize that this is not, that the vices and everything that is your negative quality are nothing more than just releases for the energy you have going up here, just ways to kind of let out, just what's that quote from Wolf of Wall Street? Feeding the goose, essentially, just keeping it loosey-goosey, just allowing it to breathe. Otherwise, there's so much like above the shoulders, technical stuff. You can kind of gauge as to what habits you can develop that are healthier for you, that also allow you that same relief or release. Now, your colors include denim blue, beige, and bronze. So you're someone who's very much thriving off of the just kind of like the, how should I say it, if you watched King of the Hill, that's basically your sweet spot. Just a sense of you can kick back, relax, go at your own pace, and also feel like you're on top of the world. Now, as for your trees, shrubs, and plants, your trees, shrubs, and plants are the asparagus, the chestnuts, the soybeans, the reed, and the elder you. Now, as for your superpower, because every zodiac sign is endowed with qualities that are very powerful and potent to them, specifically, for example, the water signs tend to be very intuitive, introspective, and they tend to read people a lot. So their powers tend to be like mind reading or manipulation. So likewise with the earth signs, because they tend to be very grounded and ever evolving, they tend to have powers of like endurance and healing. Likewise for fire signs, they tend to have very like active sort of powers, like physical strength and speed and other such qualities like that. So your superpower is unlimited expansion. Congratulations. So let's delve into this. The ability to lengthen, grow, and increase matter at will. This user can enlarge themselves to monolithic proportions. You are essentially which character would you be, actually? I want to say Beast Boy, but I see that as being more of a Gemini quality. I see Beast Boy as more of a Gemini. What do I see as a Sagittarius? I would say no, I would say Wolverine is more of a Virgo or a Capricorn. It'll come to me. So let's continue. No challenge is too great for you, Sagittarius. As a superhero, you possess larger-than-life battle skills, which prompt opponents to retreat. It does. Your thirst for wisdom helps you remain flexible and intellectually expansive. So true. If life is too short to live in stagnation, and growth leads to ultimate freedom. I want to think of the superhero this really reflects. Although the freedom you seek does inspire growth, it can often sabotage your commitment to the learning process. So you'll be too goal-oriented to recognize that to achieve your goal, you have to endure a process, and you'll be so consumed with the destination that you won't even embark on the journey. If you refuse to commit to one objective for an extended amount of time, you may miss out on the very gains you seek. Reflect upon your aversion to commitment. How many relationship, jobs, homes, or situations left for greener pastures? Now, oftentimes you have to weigh out whether or not a person is good for you, bad for you, conducive to your health, conducive to your mental health, conducive to whatever. However, if they are pretty much good enough, if they are people who you pretty much resonate with, don't leave a job, a person, a spouse, or a home, or a location just because you're constantly trying to find someone better, because eventually you will turn that same blade against yourself, and you will feel crippled by your own self-criticisms, and you will feel like you never really sowed any seeds to reap from. So, with that in mind, let's examine the organs that rule you. The organs that rule you are the hips, the thighs, the liver, and the sciatic nerve. So, let's examine your liver and make sure how its health is doing right now. So, do you happen to drink a lot as per your vice? Common. So I'm just going to try to find your liver really quickly. Give me one moment. Okay, excellent. I'm going to just put this right here. And let's see how it's doing. Okay. I would highly recommend drinking more water to release some of those toxins. Oftentimes, the higher the goals we try to strive for, the higher the expectations, the more we desire, the more toxins we put in our body, because you are balancing out that sense of frustration with wanting to gain that with the comforts of vices that are now affecting your body. So let's drink some water. To wash that out of our system. Don't mind the sounds outside. They only reflect the sounds inside your mind. And let's continue with the psychological and oracle reading. Now, let's begin. I want you to close your eyes for me. Just close Close your eyes, and right here, do you feel this heat right here? Right here. Do you feel the heat? Perfect. I want you to feel right here in your mind's eye a picture, a scene that involves fire. I want you to imagine a scene that involves fire. And as you're imagining the scene that involves fire, I want you to get more and more detailed with it. What is it burning? Is it burning anything? Are there people around it? What is its location? What does it smell like? What's the color palette going on? How big is it? How small is it? What is going on? So, as you continue to think about this image of a fire, I'm going to break down the significance of it for you. So, keep your eyes closed, and you weigh for yourself how much of a significance this has. Now, if you pictured a fire burning a house or burning something that typically isn't necessarily condoned to be burned in society, like a town, the world, a forest, then you currently are finding a lot of emotional instability inside of you. Whatever it is burning is indication of where that instability is rooted in. For example, if it's burning the home, you might feel like you're not comfortable in the location you're in, the setting that you're in, or who you are. You find that you really want to pursue a new identity or a new start. If you find it's burning a forest, you might be someone who feels like there's an end coming. You might feel like there is a destructive element in the society that you're living in. Likewise, if you feel like it's burning a town, you might want to seek that destruction of that town, or you might be thinking about the destruction of that civilization or that town as a means to say, like in a jokerish way, like let it burn, essentially. Just very much kind of thinking about the end of society, the end of our ecosystem, all of that jazz. Very, very, raw stuff. Now, when it comes to a wood burning fire, or when it comes to like a campfire, especially if there's people around it, you do enjoy and have a healthy hold on your energy and on how your energy manifests itself. If you're someone who feels comfortable giving that light and giving that warmth to yourself and others, you might imagine a lot of people around the campfire. If there's only a couple, then you find that you really only allow yourself to be really seen by a handful of people. And if it is a lonely fire, then you very much take comfort in your own company. Now, if it is a wood-burning stove inside a home, the opposite is true of the first image of a burning house. You do feel very much at home and in comfort of the situation that you're currently in and who you are, and you feel like your home is in peace. I will slaughter whoever it is that is outside. I will throw them into the wood chipper that they are using, and I will hope to be bathed in their blood. Now, let's move on. When it comes to your oracle reading, I want you to really emotionally connect with this image that is just inside your mind's eye. Allow it to influence your emotions as this man influences my emotions. I will honestly make your children cry. I hope you leave a widow behind. I will leave your body laying there. Thank you. They turn it on, I'm gonna turn their life off. Let's begin your oracle reading, shall we? What's my natal chart? You don't need to know. So, let's begin. We're going to do a 3-card spread. The first card is your beginnings card, the second card is your transition card, and the third card is your conclusions card. So the first card kind of gives you an indication of what you're currently doing right now. The second card gives you an indication of what you need to learn, and the third card gives you an indication of where you're going to be in the future. So, let's begin. I'm going to shuffle it so that way I give you a special and unique read. Keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed. And as you connect to the image that's inside your head, I'm going to ask you to really feel out these cards and pick the 3 cards that resonate with you most. Keep your eyes closed and only allow the 3 cards that really call out to you. Take as much time as you want, be as quick as you want. However they call out to you is however they call out to you. Okay? 1 card chosen. 2 cards. And 3. Perfect. Let me scoop this all back up and put it away. You can open your eyes now, and we're going to begin your oracle reading. So let's begin with the order that you chose these cards. So the first card you chose is the beginning, the middle, the second card you chose is the transition, the last card you chose is the conclusion. Your beginning card is Orlin. Now, your life quote is, "Don't fear pain, art is an anesthetic." So where your vices, in order to balance out the energy, the positive energy, that sense of constantly being energetic, motivated, and productive, its balance is the vices of trying to destroy and trying to do the complete opposite emotion of what you've been riding on. Art, though, is an anesthetic. Throw yourself into music. Throw yourself into painting. You are someone who tends to be highly, highly creative. This is your outlet. This is a healthy way for you to let out that energy that's been pent up. Let out that sense of drive that's been pent up in a meaningful way that makes you feel like you not only got a release, but you feel like you've also accomplished something easily, productively, in a leisurely fashion. As for your work ethic, do you like who you see in your petri dish? This is a very deep question, very loaded, but when you examine yourself, when you look at yourself, as opposed to looking at others and the BS they possess, do you find that the qualities and traits that you criticize others for having, especially in a very impassioned way, are traits that you are actually culpable of yourself? And the reason that you criticize them is because you're ultimately dissatisfied with how you are currently, and you find that you're kind of locked in these traits that you just can't seem to get rid of or move away from? In that case, we're going to examine that in the second card to see what transitional phase that we can embark upon. And as for the inspiration card, become your paradigm. Become your paradigm. Excuse me one moment. Okay, so as stated before, you are someone who tends to critique others. You are someone who tends to try to note out the BS of others. But before you start criticizing yourself or others, recognize in yourself a picture-perfect model. You are your own peak. You are your own definition of perfection. You are your own, basically you are the standard. Don't look at someone else and think they're the standard and then criticize someone else who doesn't fall within that other person's standard. You are your own standard. Everything you've accomplished, everything you've done, everything you will do, everything you might do, everything that you currently are, everything that you're currently doing is the standard. That is perfection to you. Because as you've done it, because it is you, someone who is so capable, someone who is so intelligent and creative, it means that who you are right now was crafted by someone who put a lot of thought and effort into who you currently are. Now, your transitional phase. Perfect. Cindy Sherman. So, when it comes to your life quote, don't be yourself, be yourselves. So, when it comes to who you are, don't try to narrow yourself down to, for example, becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, becoming a lawyer, becoming whatever, trying to mold and cut and redistribute pieces according to what other people have accomplished or what other people are doing or what other things that other people have earned and whatnot. Like, you are going to constantly try to strive and strive and strive, but when you look at the successes of others, whether it be talented musicians, whether it be talented artists, whether it be people who are basically Renaissance people, you're ultimately going to try and cut yourself up to fit their mold or to fit their personality or to fit their identity. When in reality, when you recognize yourself, when you start to look at yourself, once you start to kind of recognize yourself as your own paradigm, you start to realize that you have so many people inside of you, so many different personalities, so many interests. You are an incredibly eclectic person. Fully embody all of these different facets of yourself and allow yourself to grow like a multi-branched tree, much like the tree that I'm going to impale that person upon if they don't shut off the machine. I will not hesitate, sir. I will not hesitate. I will impale you like Jesus Christ himself. But unlike Jesus Christ, there will be no redemption for you. There will be no messianic blessing or prophecy for you. You will be forgotten. Let's continue, shall we? When it comes to your work ethic, tell the truth in every fiction. You are someone who, especially in your social highs, BS is a lot. It's a lot of BS. It's a lot of BS. BS isn't a bad thing. It's very much necessary, hence why it's the crossroads of literally everything in society. Politics, religion, businesses. Come on now. But in order to make yourself more palatable and powerful, you're going to want to tell the truth in very fantastical, fictional ways that you know is going to please the ear of whoever's listening to you. Because ultimately, if they're not in your inner circle, why do you want to take on the stress and negativity and the bite back and the tension and the pushback from people who are ultimately inconsequential to you? And finally, your inspiration. Take a good long look in someone else's mirror. Take a good long look in someone else's mirror. Sometimes you oftentimes idealize the accomplishments and the identities of other people. You tend to glorify them to a point of flawlessness, when in reality, if you look at their mirror, it is cracked. They are people who are also full of flaws, full of insecurities. They are people who don't push themselves as hard as you do, and they probably have a fourth of the talent that you have, let alone fourth of the insight and fourth of the constant zest for knowledge. So when it comes to their mirror, recognize that you are not the only one who is flawed. In the same way you idealize someone else, many upon many people are idealizing you, romanticizing you, and hoping to just hang out with you for like 5 minutes for how wonderful a person you are. Now, as for your last card, it's your conclusion card. Just like I will exact upon the conclusion of this person's life, your life will come to its end. I will terminate your life. You will find your conclusion coming very quickly. Fiend, the end, not to be continued. Who is this man? Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? I'm about to make this man sag into his grave. I'm going to borrow your arrow and bow, your bow and arrow. Now, let's continue on with your conclusion so that way I conclude this man's life. Wassily Kandinsky is your conclusion card. So your life inspiration is to transcend systems to find spirit. So as opposed to trying to rise through the ranks of a musical ambition, a medical ambition, a corporate ambition, or trying to attain any sort of title or public notoriety, find your own spirit, turn to spirituality, turn to the essence that cannot be quantified, the essence that cannot be measured, in order to find solace in a plateau where you don't have to compete anymore. As for your work ethic, hear music through sight. When it comes to your sense of criticism, try to warp your perceptions of the material around you, the material world around you, so that way you view it from a different perspective and you learn to cherish it yet again, now learning that when you criticize something, it really sucks out the fun and the value from it. And likewise, lastly, your inspiration. Begin with a dot, as opposed to getting analysis paralysis, as opposed to getting intimidated by the journey, as opposed to not even embarking on the journey because you're so focused on the goal. Begin with the dot. You will learn that. Beginning with a dot. Take on the very simple first step, and the second one will follow, and the third one will follow, and you will learn how to appreciate a process yet again as you did as a child without obsessing over the end goal. Now, this reading has come to its end, much like that person's life will. So, how did you like your reading? Good. Do you have any questions for me? Okay, good. Let me remove your gloves, and I'm gonna use them to OJ Simpson this guy. So I'm just going to remove your gloves really quickly. Hopefully they don't fit me. And I'm just going to remove it again. Okay, perfect. I'm gonna use this one to strangle him. And I hope you have a good day. Okay, bye-bye. You didn't hear anything from me, okay? You didn't hear